Killed it.
Episode 10.
Yeah. Be good to your brother, episode 10.
I'm surprised we've made it this far.
I am too, a little bit.
Look at us go.
But I'm proud. I'm proud to be here.
The pick is gone in the guitar.
Tough.
It's disappeared.
We'll dig it out later.
But 8:51 in the morning. Busy day today. It's Saturday. This will be up tomorrow on Easter, so happy Easter, everyone. Happy Resurrection Sunday.
Happy Easter.
As Joe likes to call it. He doesn't call it Easter.
Doesn't call it Easter. Resurrection Sunday?
Resurrection Sunday.
I like it.
Which I like it too. But busy day today. We got this morning. I got to go up to church at noon or at 11 here in a couple hours and do the Easter egg hunt up at church. That's going to be something. Then after that, got to get a run in. Got to find time to edit this. Then we're going to see Tyler Childers tonight.
Tyler Childers.
So
big old Saturday.
That's fun.
I'm going to be wore out tomorrow morning. That's all right.
But as you can see, we're back.
Yeah.
Back home, I guess.
Back home. In the studio.
Yeah, back in the studio.
Extra bedroom I have. Whatever.
But
we'll call it a studio.
Yeah, we're back. We're back here like we never left. Episode 10. So we've done this 10 weeks in a row now.
It's awesome.
We started back in February, now it's April.
I can't believe it.
That's crazy. I've really enjoyed doing this because, like before this, when do we ever get time to sit down and talk for an hour? So that's pretty neat. What's been going on with you? How you been?
Been good. I've been in North Carolina. I'm tired of that job. I'm ready to be back. Oh, buddy, you don't even know. You don't even know. There's yeah, I won't get into all the work details, but your boy's got the short end of the stick. It's all right. It happens.
Yeah.
I got 2 weeks left.
Yeah.
2 weeks and I'm coming home. I should be in a better hotel Monday.
Yeah.
I had to pack all my stuff up in the truck.
Yeah.
Before work the other morning. But that hotel sucks. And hopefully be in a better one.
So you're not staying till August no more?
Not till August. Nope.
Good deal.
Yeah, I'm glad. I might be going back after the honeymoon.
Yeah.
I might not also. But yeah, I'm wore out of that project. I'm ready for it to be done. I'm closing in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to be back in Kentucky. It was great driving home. I come up through Virginia. I took 77 up toward Virginia and then got on to 81. Just stayed on 81.
Yeah.
Hit some little town just 30 miles from Kentucky, and it's all back roads.
Yeah.
Come up through Whitesburg, go through Perry, Letcher, Hazard. Some good old boys out there.
Yeah.
But I cruised with the windows down. I had like 3 or 4 hours with the windows down yesterday. Just coming through the mountains. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I think that charged my battery up.
Yeah.
Just that ride alone, honestly.
Mm.
And everything else this weekend is just gonna be butter.
Yeah. I'm excited for tonight. Yeah. I've never went to like an actual concert before. So this is the first for me, and I just kind of got surprised with the ticket. My aunt gave me a ticket to go, basically kind of supervise her kids that are going. So that's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
We're taking my grandpa's van. There's 6 of us going, and she bought us a parking pass, like right next to the stadium. I got to looking at the parking pass.
Oh no! Oh no!
It says ADA. It's disabled parking. So luckily, my grandma has a handicap sticker. We're going to hang up in the window and we're going to get front row parking.
Well, buddy, I would have kept that to myself, but that's all right. So if you're at Tyler Childers...
last night.
Well, yeah. I was saying this like it's live. If you were there last night and you saw some really healthy kids get out of a van.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
I'm gonna walk.
And it was not Gabe.
I'm gonna walk with a limp, getting out of the van.
Then run your marathon. Hope you feel good.
Well,
that's funny. It'll be all right.
But speaking of running and marathons and stuff, Andrew, he was on 5 weeks ago. He was on episode 5. So Andrew he was supposed to run the half marathon with me this upcoming weekend, 7 days from today. But where his knee he's hurt his knee before. He tore his meniscus, I think, and had it repaired and all that stuff. It's just been bothering him. He can't run like more than half a mile without it bothering him.
Gosh.
So what he did, he's got big into cycling, riding bikes and stuff. So he transferred that entry fee from the marathon to a cycling event, the Tour de Louisville, this morning. So he's currently racing 20 miles around Louisville on a bicycle today. So right now. So I'm pretty proud of him for that because, like, you know, you have adversity and you could have just said, well, my knee's hurt, I'm not going to do anything. Well, he's found a new little thing to keep getting after it. So
that's Andrew,
that is Andrew. So he's riding a bike around Louisville right now. I forgot. He sent me the link to the course last night, but of course I forgot about it because he sent it to me while I was running. I couldn't look at it while I was running.
Yeah.
But anywho,
love that guy.
Yep. But he's getting after it this morning. Proud of him. This week's been kind of a busy week for me. For the most part, Monday I had a interview for, last week we were talking about how much we hated school. But Monday I had an interview for the graduate assistant position at EKU in the sports management program and getting my master's degree in sports administration and all that. I had an interview for it Monday. I think it went all right. I went in there absolutely not prepared at all. It was just one of them things I felt like, well, they're going to ask me questions. I'm just going to answer them the best I can. There's no need to get worried about it.
Yeah.
So I kind of dressed up nice for it. I almost didn't because then I'm like, well, this is a job interview. You should probably dress up a little nice for it. But I went in, sat down. I had Dr. Muff to my right. He's a cool guy. I love that guy. He's one of my professors. I had Dr.
Didn't get the job. Just lost it.
I know. Just lost it. Delage. I forget how to pronounce her name. Yeah. Her maiden name was Monk. She used to go by Dr. Monk. But now she's Dr. Delage. And I had Dr. Adams Blair to the left of me. And so it's kind of like a table like this, how it was. It was a little wider, though. And so I had an option to sit at the head of the table, farthest away from everybody, or she was sitting here and the other girl was sitting there. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to sit as close as I can. Just get us. I'm like,
get in there.
I said, where do you want me? She said, you can sit anywhere. So I'm sitting right here and she's sitting right here. So she's interviewing me and I'm just sitting there. Like, not this close, but like probably about me to you, honestly. Yeah. But she was to there. I'm like, I'm going to sit right next to her, act like I'm comfortable.
That's good.
But anywho, just kind of small things like that kind of went through my head for that. But she was asking me questions like, well, how you gonna do in this role? What are you gonna do if a student questions your authority? Well, that was one of the questions, because like as a graduate assistant, you might be like teaching a class or something, which is crazy to me that they would even have me teach a college class. Do they know me? But I haven't got the job yet, so I don't know. But
fake it till you make it.
Let's hope they don't watch this.
Yeah.
But that's what Dad said last week. He said, I hope they don't watch your podcast. But anywho, we're being authentic today.
Yeah.
But I was sitting there and it's like, well, some of the responsibilities you'd have would be you might be teaching a class. You'd be a facilitator on online classes. You would be grading papers, doing all this stuff. What would, in a situation where a student might question your authority because, you're just 4 months older than them out of their shoes or whatever, and some kids might even be older than you, so how would you question their authority? So I'm like, well, I understand that question perfectly because, like, with coaching track and coaching football and stuff, I mean, the seniors on the track team, I played ball with them when I was a senior. When they were freshmen, played football with them. And so it was one of the things I brought that up and kind of went in on that a little bit and talked about how it's like people see like those relationships. I mean, you have good relationships as buddies with them, but there's a time and place for that. And in the classroom or at practice or whatever, that's not the time or place. During the classroom, we're here to get better. We're here to learn. So if they, so that's how you separate those two relationships. I went into better detail.
Yeah.
Of course there, but she's like, well, what if they question your authority? I'm like, well, if they do, that's fine because
I just took a boxing class.
that and it's like, well, I won't really get offended by that because, like, first off, I've never seen anybody make a scene, at least in my personal experience.
There you go.
I've never seen anyone make a scene before in the classroom like that. I just don't think that's people don't do that.
Yeah.
But I says, like, well, personally, I wouldn't like let it affect me at all. After class, I would pull that, if I had a big problem with them, I'd pull that student aside one by one, and we'd talk and see what was happening. And if that still didn't solve the problem, I would, either go to you or I said my boss or whatever, which she's like, well, that'd be me. I'm like, well, then I'd take it to you, and then we'd talk through it together. And she's like, okay. Then, which I pulled that, where I pulled that from? Straight from the Bible.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to handle confrontations with people, straight from the Bible. You have to, if you have a issue, I think it's in one of the Timothys, I think, one of the letters that Paul wrote to Timothy. How you handle confrontations with people in the church. You handle it one-on-one. If you got a problem with somebody, you go one-on-one with them. If you still can't solve it, you go get a buddy, one-on-one, or not two-on-one, but, you work it together.
Yeah.
But if that still don't work, bring two other people, three people with you, and you go talk to them. And if that don't work, then just kind of...
Stones.
Just kind of don't do it. But anywho, that's how you're supposed to handle situations in the Bible. That's how
I like that.
we're told to in the New Testament. So I just kind of use the same thing there.
That is the best way
Yeah.
to answer an interview question.
Mm-hmm. But then she was also asking me questions about like, what was your motive behind this? Like, what's your motivation behind this? I said, well, I kind of wanted to, have the 4-year college experience, which I really could care less about. That was my question. It's like, well, I'm graduating in 3 years. I mean, the traditional 4-year college experience is 4 years. So with this, get my master's degree in 1 calendar year, August, and because I'd have to take a summer. Next summer would be the summer semester I'd have to take for it. And so I get it calendar year, get the traditional 4 years of college and all that stuff, and get a master's degree, and plus get it paid for, and do all that stuff and work through it. And she asked me another question that I thought I had a pretty good answer to it, but it's leaving my mind right now. I can't even remember, but anyhow, but I thought it went all right. She said, if you don't hear back from me about a week and a half, come kicking down my door and find something out. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably have an answer next week's podcast of what I'm going to be doing in the future. So,
Awesome.
Pretty neat stuff. I guess the only thing that kind of worries me about it is like, well, the working part and doing what I'm told. I mean, I can do that stuff. But the only part that worries me about it is the classes are going to be a lot. I mean, it's only 12 hours a semester is the most they'll let you take. But I think they're night classes. So I'm going to try to do a bunch of them online. And so I don't have to go over there, be at EKU from 8 in the morning to 8 at night.
That would suck.
Because that would be
a long day.
Make me want to quit real fast.
I'm sure you'd have gaps of like 2-3 hours in there too.
I know it. It just makes it pointless because you can't go home.
Turn right back around.
Turn around, come right back. But anywho, But I guess we'll see what happens. But I was graduating May 16th at 1 o'clock. That's a big week, too.
It's exciting.
Yeah. See, the 10th, we got the bachelor's party, you'd want to call it.
Yeah.
May 10th, whatever you want to call that.
I think we're going to go right down there and have a big fire, shoot guns. And, yeah.
We camping out that night?
I don't know. I failed at planning this, but
I'm down for whatever.
yeah, I figured we'd play it by ear.
Yeah. I'm down to camp.
I
Sit around the fire, play little tunes. I've been learning some guitar songs.
There you go.
I need to showcase in front of somebody.
I need to get some targets or something to shoot at.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it would get pretty boring of shooting at an old tree stump down there pretty quick.
We need to get some clay pigeons we can throw up. That'd be fun.
That'd be good. That way Mason could shoot a window out of my house.
But
He can shoot, actually.
can he?
Yeah.
I hit
Pretty impressed.
I hit a clay pigeon one time with a 9mm, and I don't think I'll ever be able to do that again.
It was just luck.
But yeah, I think it was just luck. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So then we got that. Then we got your wedding on the 13th. Are we doing something on the 12th too?
Yeah, we're doing
The rehearsal on the 12th. Let me put that in my calendar.
Probably get everybody pizza.
Pizza.
I think it's going to be the move.
Let's see. Let me go ahead. That's not my calendar app. That's my text message app.
That way my stomach can be tore up for the day of the wedding.
I already have it down there anyways. Okay. I already have it in there.
Nice.
And then 14th, you're getting married.
13th.
13th, sorry. The 14th, I'm canceling my Minecraft Realm subscription. That's what the 14th is.
You got that on a calendar?
Yes, because I ain't paying $7.99 to
Why
play
don't
Minecraft.
Okay.
But I've been in a big Minecraft kick here recently.
Dude, I've been dying to play Minecraft.
Hop on the Realm.
I need to get my PlayStation down there.
I got a Be Good to Your Brother realm. Mason's
do you
in
really?
it. Let's just say we haven't been real good to our brothers in that realm.
Oh, man.
Anywho, that's a story for another day. We watched the Minecraft movie and we've been on a big kick. You know how it goes. Everyone listen knows. Everyone
The 2-week
knows how it goes.
Minecraft kick.
So, anywho, what else has been happening? Shoot, that was just Monday for me. I'll let you go
Monday?
for a little bit and I'll talk about Tuesday.
We'll just slowly get through our week.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping we could talk about the show a little bit.
Okay.
I feel like we need to, I think we need to self-audit.
I agree.
Yeah, because I think our mission statement has, I don't think it's a bad thing that we've gotten away from it,
Yeah.
but I do think we've gotten away from it. I think
Yeah.
I kind of expected us, as we got into it more,
Mhm.
to kind of develop the show.
Yeah.
And I figured it would change direction, and it kind of has. I think we've gone from trying to educate to just sharing experience,
Yeah.
and I just wanted your thoughts on it. So I'm fine with just sharing our experience.
Yeah.
'Cause we're young, 20-year-old, 21-year-old.
Yeah. I think we need to stick to what we've been doing. I'm not saying what we've been doing is wrong. It's what we've been doing is different than what we originally planned, which is neither good nor bad. It's just kind of what's happened.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to implement better ways of, like you said, the education part, because we're just sharing experiences and getting. Hopefully, people can just pick up of what our experience is like. Well, we might be able to change something here, change something there in our lives to, improve, but we're not really telling people how to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Which you also don't want to tell people how to do stuff because then they might get upset or whatever. But, yeah, I think we need to. It's just, I don't want to use this as an excuse, but it's been kind of hard here recently because we don't really have like a set schedule, or we're just kind of doing it here. But that shouldn't be an excuse. But I don't know. That's one of the things that we have gotten away from our mission statement. I'll go ahead and read it. It says, the goal of the Be Good to Your Brother podcast is to provide a resource and education stream to anyone interested in self-improvement and further development. The Be Good to Your Brother podcast is driven by faith and our 3 core values listed below. Inspiring people to grow and improve as an individual is our top priority so that they are empowered to approach the world with radical kindness and be good to their brothers. Accountability, allegiance, authenticity. Which I feel like we've hit these really good. We've hit the bottom ones great.
Yeah. Which is why I don't feel like we're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's because we're sticking to our core value.
Yeah.
I do think we need to lean in to more education. I think we just need to try and do a better job of tying in our experience into an action statement.
Yeah.
Because like it's kind of elementary to relate it to an essay.
Yeah.
Whenever you write an essay, you finish your essay and you want to have something that somebody can take home with. Somebody can take home that last sentence.
Yeah.
And do something with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to do better of. I think just tying it in better and giving more action to it.
I agree. What I have liked though, it's a faith-driven podcast. I feel like we've done pretty well with that. I mean, every episode we've had scripture. You know, we're gonna have some here later, and I'm gonna go kind of in on it a little bit. Try to, anyways. But because it's a very important time of year. Yeah, I like that topic you got written down. We can talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, I think we need to. We kind of went out this way a little bit with it.
Yeah.
We kind of need to narrow it back in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I tried one episode. I don't remember what episode it was. It was the episode we talked about Atomic Habits. I tried to like really tie that episode in.
Yeah.
And it just felt forced.
Yeah.
You know, and Dad kind of said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I thought with Dad's brain that would have been right up his alley.
Yeah.
But he called me and he was like, "Not your best work. That's all right." I'm like, yeah, I didn't like it either. It didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to force the education system. I think we just, like I said, need to tie it into an action statement better.
Yeah, I like that.
Write that down.
Blue's going crazy out there.
She is upset.
I'll say what's up there here in a minute. But yeah, I think we need to. I agree with that. But so I think we can hit in real hard on that once we get into the scripture part here in a minute. But I kind of want to talk about Tuesday night, and I want to talk about we can go into many things about Tuesday night. I want to talk about Tuesday night, and I want to talk about my run last night. Or shoot, even the 20-mile run Sunday night. I haven't even talked about that yet.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about Tuesday night first, because I forget it's been over a week since we recorded last.
Yeah.
So a lot's happened since then. But Tuesday night we had a track meet in Boyle County. If anyone was here in Irvin or in Kentucky this past Tuesday, it was cold. It's like 45 degrees. During track meet, 45 degrees, wind blowing. Has the wind been real bad in North Carolina?
Buddy, it's been rough.
Oh my gosh.
I've never felt wind that I didn't think I could like step into.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that day.
Wind's been awful here recently. But Tuesday night it was blowing the wind every which way, and it was cold, and we went to this track meet, and every other team there was better than us. Just on paper, just the numbers, and you go into a track meet like that, I can't imagine for the kids, like, it'd be hard to try because you know you're going to get beat
feel
anyways.
defeated.
Yeah. So I think we scored 1 point out of the whole track meet, and we came in 15th out of 15th. I mean, it was bad. So just the whole time, kids were complaining. It's like, why are we even here? It's cold. I don't want to run my meet. It's late. The track meet was in Boyle County. they did a little senior night thing. Track meet started at 5:30. We didn't run the first race until 6:15.
Dang.
So there was still 4 races left, and it was 11 o'clock. So we left at 11 o'clock, and there were still 4 races left. So we didn't even get to compete in the last few. Because just everyone was complaining, kids were leaving, like they were going home with their parents, they were missing their races and stuff, and like, just, it was a bad night all around, and it's hard to keep morale up and try to boost everybody else up when just literally everyone's complaining, and I'm telling them all this stuff, and they're like, Gabe, it's too cold, Gabe, I don't want to run this race, can I not run this, or can I get someone else to run this for me? It's like, oh, this is going to be hard, this is going to suck. I'm like, I looked at like all of them, and they were all complaining, and I kind of raised my voice at them. I said, you guys are the most complaining bunch of people I've ever seen in my life. And like, I told them, I said, yeah, it's cold, so what? It's cold for everyone else too. Like, and you guys just need to be like, I can't remember what I said, but like, I was going around the points like, you just need to be like mentally tough. It's like no one had any like positive thoughts in their head. They were all straight negative. And I was telling them, I said, guys, your mind, like, you're the one that controls your mind. You're the one that can control your feelings and stuff, for the most part anyways. And like, just go into it with positive thoughts. I mean, it's going to be like, they didn't want to run the 800, which is half a mile, 2 laps around the track. I said, boys, it's 3 minutes of pain, then you're done. Just go in for it for 3 minutes and you'll be done. So I just don't want, like, just quit dreading it and doing all this stuff. And it's just like, it was all just their mindsets were so bad. And it kind of reminded me of myself a little bit, of just the negative mindsets. And I told them, I was like, guys, you're the ones that can control the way you feel. Get all the negativity out of your heads and just go in and do the best you can, because that's all you can do. Go in and run this race and do it the best you can. And some of them did. Some of them went and actually did the race. And it's just, and I don't know, it was just such an odd experience, because everybody's mind was in the dump that night. And it's just, I guess they're high school kids, so you can't expect too much out of them, with being the maturity of just someone that has like a David Goggins mindset. But I'm like, guys, just, your mindsets are awful. Just go into it with a positive mindset and do the best you can, because that's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I was preaching at them, or I don't know if they listened, took any of it to heart, but hopefully it kind of put an impact on some of them. It's like you guys are just complaining. Complaining is not going to get you nothing. Like, it's not going to get you anything in this situation, because complaining is not going to make the sun come back up and rise 20 degrees. You complaining is not going to do that. So let's just make the best of the situation that we're in right now, and let's do the best we can. And that kind of reminds me of, I was running last night, 10 miles through town last night. It was late. Got back from golfing. Went golfing with Bryce and Elliott yesterday. And we went at like 3:20. I got home about 8 o'clock. Still hadn't ran yet. And so I'm like, crap, I got 10 miles to do tonight. It's going to be awful. And it was one of the things, I just had the discipline. It's like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do it and get it over with, And I was listening to a podcast with Theo Vaughn. I love Theo Vaughn. His podcasts are very good. Theo Vaughn and Lane Kiffin, head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels. And he was talking about how good and bad things happen and how you deal with it all and all this stuff. He's a head coach in the SEC, so he's been through it. He coached at USC, coached with Alabama, with Nick Saban, under Nick Saban, so he's seen it all, done it all. And he's like, one of the big things that I finally realized of balance, anyways, balancing work and life, and balancing the good and the bad, is that the tide comes in and the tide comes out. The tide comes in and out. Things flow in and out. So whatever's happening, good and bad is going to be good and bad. Is just it flows. It's like a flow state. You could be having a very good day. Your buddy comes up to you having a bad day and brings that bad into your life. How you going to deal with it? Or you could be or someone else could be having a good day and you're just brought down by whatever, and you're going into their life and bringing all your crap onto them. How are they going to deal with it? How you guys are going to deal with it together? And that's one of the things you just got to understand is like the tide comes in and out. Good and bad things happen. What did we talk about in the podcast last week? Ecclesiastes, or was that 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah.
Ecclesiastes.
I can't remember which.
Ecclesiastes 7:14.
God made the good and the bad.
God made the good and bad,
7:14
right?
sounds right.
So
7:14.
Yeah, God made the good and the bad, right? And so tide flows in and out, and it was just all kind of coming back to me. It's like, well, there's good and there's bad things happens, but we're in this moment right now. How are we going to make the best out of the moment we're in right now? And that's just kind of my thoughts on that. Is because complaining ain't going to get you nowhere. It's just you're just going to be in your spot, in the situation you're in, and you just got to do the best you can. So for these kids, it was this race. They could have won and did the best they can. Maybe they just did it and went through the motions and got the race over with. Maybe they actually did go in and did the best they can. I don't know. That's for them to decide how they wanted to treat that. But it was just complaining. And so and that brings up to us this week, we have a big meet Friday night, which I won't be able to go to. I'll be in Louisville, but we have 3 days of practices next week. So how, as us as a coaches, how are we going to implement that better mindset into those kids of, well, let's do the best we can when it comes our time to race? Because this is Bath County Invitational. The top 2 guys in each event, and girls, will be the ones running. So everybody won't be running a race. Everybody won't be throwing a shot put or discus. So it's just our top scores from those. So we got a whole week of implementing that mindset. It was like, hey, we're actually going to go here and compete not only with each other, not only with other teams, but we're going to compete with ourselves, because running and track and whatever is a big competition with yourself. And I've learned that the hard way, that you're not running against anybody else. You're running against yourself. You're always trying to beat that time that you put up last meet or last race or whatever. And so it's just that competition with yourself. So let's compete with everyone else, but let's also compete with ourselves. Well, how do we do that? We do the best we can in that moment. No matter the situation, no matter the environment we're in, we do the best we can. That's my spill on that.
Man, it was good. I pulled some stuff out of that. And what was the guy's name? The coach's name?
Who?
On the Theo Vaughn podcast.
Oh, Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. So, good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're flowing in and out of good and bad. Tide comes in, tide comes out. Right? Yeah. One thing that I immediately pulled out of that, which I need to use right now, personally, is you know where you're at.
Yeah.
If you know the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does. For some reason, we just choose to wallow in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we choose to over-celebrate when we're in the good.
Yeah.
Often.
Yeah.
But you know where you are. Whenever you're in a bad time, you know that a good time is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you're in a good time, it's really important to know that a bad time is coming.
Yeah.
And you better get ready for it.
Yeah.
Because it can knock you down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with getting knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down. Righteous man falls 7 times.
Yeah.
The Bible tells us that.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to get ready whenever you're in good times. But you know, it's important to enjoy both, because there's a lot of good in both.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing I pulled out of that is just like you were talking about that track meet. You said they could have gone in and just went through the motions, ran their race, and left, or they could have actually went out and gave it all they had.
Mm-hmm.
That's up for them to decide.
Yeah.
One of the most important things that I learned from football in my life that will translate to the rest of my life is that there's nothing worse than walking away defeated knowing that you have more gas in your tank.
Yeah.
Gosh, it eats me up.
Yeah.
I still think about our last football game when we ran 23 zone, whatever, 23.
Arizona.
Yeah. We ran that. And instead of stepping left, I stepped right because they were shooting that gap all night.
Yeah.
Right through my gap.
Yeah.
Clobbered Ty. Clobbered him. And I remember Boone just ripping me for it. I was just burning. Like, I was furious with myself. There's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
Walking and that's really important for high school sports. And it worries me because you see competition in sports kind of declining in our youth right now.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what it is. I think there's a lot of I think as a society we've kind of confused comfort and how good comfort is. Because we everybody tries to make everyone comfortable.
Yeah.
And whenever you're comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
Like you grow when you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Every guy that buys podcast equipment and sits in front of a camera talks about how you don't grow.
Yeah.
Whenever you're comfortable. But there's a lot of truth in it. That's why people say it all the time.
Yeah.
You got to find discomfort to move somewhere. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Heard that on the Theo podcast. Love it. But yeah, there's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
You translate that everywhere. And I think it's a lesson that people need to learn that getting knocked down and feeling suck isn't that bad.
Yeah.
You will live if you feel some suck in your life.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna kill you.
I like how you brought up the point of where, let's see, what was it? What is it that you said? That you had gas left in the tank. How did you phrase that? That you...
Knowing there's nothing worse than walking away defeated
Yeah.
knowing you had gas in the tank.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than walking away after you completed something knowing you could have done it better.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest, I guess, worry for next Saturday, 7 days from now. 7 days from now, I'll be probably about mile 20.
Yeah.
Mile 19, mile 20 of the marathon 7 days from now at this time. So that's when they say that's when the race actually starts, is mile 20. The first 20 miles are just warm-ups. And then the last
6.2
is what's really gets after it and how you really get after it. So that's kind of been my biggest worry these past few weeks, is like, in this race, am I going to be able to do the best I can and give everything I got in this, or am I just going to go through the motions through it? And that's been my biggest, my biggest worry, is because I don't want to cross that finish line and have the thought in my mind, I could have ran mile 21 better than I did. I could have ran mile 9 better than I did. I want to do the best I can throughout the whole race. But also, it's such a long time to measure when to push your efforts, when to speed up, when to slow down. Because I'm going to be running for 3 hours and 15 minutes is really the goal, is the pace.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be running for 3 hours and 15 minutes. How do you start slow, but you don't want to start too slow, but you also don't want to start too fast. So it's just finding that sweet medium of where this is the best effort that I can give for the pace that I'm wanting to run.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a big mental game for me, because I'm physically fit enough, but I don't want to, like I besides the soreness and stuff, this is the best physical shape I've ever been in my life. Endurance wise, VO2 max wise, just everything. Best shape I've ever been in my life. I'm just sore all the time, but that's how it goes. I need to stretch more. But this next week, I'm really scaling the miles down until next Saturday.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of worrying me a little bit. It's like, because it's a big mental game. Am I going to be mentally strong enough to do this? But the answer should be yes. Like, duh, Gabe, you should be mentally strong enough. You ran 300 miles last month. You ran 320 this month. You know, you ran 200. That's a lie. Hold up. That is a lot more than you ran 200 miles last month is what it was. You ran 200 miles last month. You ran 150 the month before. You've almost got more miles in this year, or you almost got 1,000 miles this year. I ran 1,000 miles last year. It's April. So the mental side of it, I should be able to do it because, like, I'm mentally strong enough. I'm disciplined enough to do it. It's just funny how those worries just kind of creep in at you. Well, how do you deal with them? I don't think you just need to push them away, because, you know, if you just push your worries away, push your problems away, that ain't good, because you're not dealing with them. You're
just
not
kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, you're not dealing with them. You need to pick up that can, throw it away. You need to deal with that can, right? So you need to deal with those negative thoughts and negative emotions. Understand that they're there, accept that they're there, and work to get through them. Work to either fix them, accept them, or just however you need to deal with it, right? Deal with those negative thoughts. And, you know, that's something I've kind of been thinking about here recently. How am I going to get through this mentally? Because it's going to hurt. There's going to be a lot of pain to get through this. And how am I going to get through it? Well, I'm also thinking of someone else that also went through a lot of pain, and it's Easter time. This could be a kind of cool tied into the gospel story and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So, but we can get to that towards the end. You got anything else?
I need a bathroom break.
Bathroom break?
I need a bathroom break.
All right, let's pause.
Be a bad one. I wanted to talk about the other side of walking away defeated, knowing you had gas in the tank.
Let's do it.
Because I can remember, I don't remember like specifics, details. I can remember times where we did walk off defeated from a football game, and like it sucked. Like nobody likes to lose.
Yeah.
But it was a different kind of suck because you didn't have anything left.
Yeah.
And there's peace there. Like
Yeah.
It really sucks to give it your all. Like nobody's going to argue with you. It really sucks to go maximum effort on anything. Like it's difficult. You have to make sacrifices, and it's just mentally hard. It's physically hard for some things. But there's a lot of peace of mind that comes with knowing there's nothing else you could have done better. I mean, you could have done things better, but with your abilities, with your capabilities, there's nothing else you could have done. It's motivating, and I think that's the best type of failure. I think the problem with failure is that people fail with gas in the tank.
Yeah.
I think that's where people kind of fall astray. It's when you lose and you've given your all, you're just motivated to get better.
Yeah.
It's just a catalyst. But
I feel like that's more how you say that, at least from my experience, that every time that I've lost a football game's big for me because, you know, I was actually playing. But every time we lost a football game, I can pick apart, if we'd have done something different here, that would change the tide of the game. If I'd have hit this block, or say if someone else would have made their block better on this play, hole would have opened up, bang, go touchdown.
Yeah.
We win the game. So it's harder for me to look at it from that perspective from a team sport because, maybe I gave it all I had.
The guy next to you didn't.
The guy next to me didn't. Or the guy across the field from me didn't, But I love that perspective when it comes to, you versus you by yourself. Because, all the times, you're not going to win all the time, right? You're not going to go into, whether it's a job interview, whether it's to a competition you're preparing for, whether it's just, everyday life. You're not going to win every day. You're gonna face a lot of failures. You're gonna face a lot of setbacks, and especially when, like you said, you go into something and you give everything you had, and you still fail. That can suck, but it also should give you the, like you said, peace of mind. It's like, well, I did give it everything I had. It just didn't go my way this time. So the good thing to add to that would be, well, I failed this time. I gave it everything I had. Well, let me just give up. Let me just quit, right? Because I gave everything I had and it didn't go my way, so I'm just going to quit trying. That's one attitude to have towards things. I don't think that's the best attitude to have towards things, because if you put everything you have into something, that means you really want it. That means you really want to do it. And that sucks when things happen to you, when you really want something, you give everything you have, and you're not able to achieve that goal. You're not able to get that when it comes time for it. So you have two options. You can sit and like, well, that sucks. I'm just gonna sit and wallow in this. Everything's against me. I gave everything I had. I'm not gonna get this new job, or I'm not gonna get whatever. Or you can look at it from a different perspective. This was one opportunity that I had. I didn't get it. I failed in it. I lost in it. Well, that's one door closed. Let's see what other opportunities are better for me. Let's see what other opportunities are out there. Because you can sit and it's like, well, I have this one path I want to hit. This is my only path in life. Well, what happens if you give everything you got and that door doesn't open once you get to it? What are you going to do now? You can't just sit at that door. You got to move somewhere else. You got to go other ways. So I like that perspective that you had of the other side of, because there is peace in that, especially when it comes to a game, right? Giving everything you have and you lose. It's like, well, that guy's just better than me, He might have worked harder in preparation than I did prepping for this game. He might have more talent than I do in this game. He might, be smarter than me in this game. But I still gave it everything I had. I'm still going to accept the loss, but I'm also going to accept that I gave everything I had because I actually, tried. And for me, this marathon next week, there's going to be a lot of people that's faster than me. So I'm not going to win the whole thing. I probably won't even win my age group. But I'm going to still go in, and I'm going to be happy that I crossed that finish line. I'm going to be happy that I did the best I can in it. I'm going to be happy that I accomplished my goal in it. So I may not win the whole thing. I won't win the whole thing. That's just not realistic for me to expect. I won't win the whole thing. Probably won't even win my age group. But I'm going to go in and do the best I can at it. So
I think you'll do all right. I think you'll do all right.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I kind of just destroyed your point there.
No, you didn't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm thinking too extreme, but you're gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is I will die and I will only see everything that I could have done. That's probably, well, I don't know if that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is getting jumped.
Get jumped?
Dude, have you ever, That's such a stupid. Why did I do that?
Well, we got to expand on this now.
Have you ever seen have you ever gotten on Twitter and seen those like messed up fight videos? Or like,
I don't get on Twitter.
yeah, I don't anymore. Like, or like just the thought of getting jumped by like several people.
It is
like,
scary.
Like, I say this pretty ignorantly because I'm not a trained fighter or anything. But I've thrown my weight around before, and I feel like just in general, I could throw my weight around okay.
And handle a one-on-one situation.
You know, if it's me versus another untrained individual, and they're not like of any sort of particular strength or speed, I'll handle myself all right.
Yeah.
You know, I can do my best. But just like 5 people, God, it tears me up. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. Like it really does tear me up to think about just being powerless to that.
Yeah.
And
we've kind of went to that in my boxing class a little bit. It's like, well, if it's you versus 2 other people, what are you going to do? Well, how are you going to defend yourself? And just kind of stuff like that. And
there's a jiu-jitsu saying, if one man can hold you down, stop right there. If you know, you know.
Don't let anybody hold you down.
Yeah, don't let anybody hold you down. That may be that fear may be a reflection of myself, because I like to be capable.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of why I like my job so much. Is I get to learn stuff and I get to do different stuff. Like I've hung steel before, like iron worker, steel, and I've done electrical stuff, and like all the stuff I do at work is for the most part translated into life, and I've been able to save a lot of time and money and that kind of thing by being able to do stuff myself. And I really like to be capable.
Yeah.
And learn new skills. But anyway, back to what I was saying originally. We're all gonna die. Gabe. Yeah. We're all gonna die. It's guaranteed. Guaranteed more than taxes. But we're gonna die one day, and that's like the ultimate thing. Like I know I've already messed up. Is the kind of sucky thing about it. I know I've already had shortcomings. I know I've already failed, and I'm gonna die one day, and I'm scared of how I'll feel about my life after I die. Which hopefully I make it to heaven. Heaven. Hopefully, I don't really know. I want to. And it probably won't matter to me if I do. But it's really terrifying to think about if I look back at my life after I die.
Yeah. I think that this kind of brought me up. This kind of brought a funny skit into my mind. There's a comedian called John Christ. You know him? He's kind of like a Christian comedian, but he was on stage talking about the story of Lazarus, and he said, "Can you just imagine how Lazarus felt, like after he died? He's just up in heaven for a while, chilling. You know, building
gets pulled back to earth,
building his mansion, not having a single care in the world." And he gets a phone call. It's like, "Hey, Lazarus." He's like, "Yeah, what's up, man? What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just enjoying heaven up here. You know, it's the best thing ever." It's like, "Hate to break it to you, they need you back down there."
That would suck.
And he's like, "What?" Then he just pulled back down. But like, how you said, it's like, well, it probably won't matter to me once I'm up there about about your feelings on your past life. You know, I think you'll have, I don't know, because that is a scary thought, because there's different paths. I always think of the multiverse in Marvel, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different timelines. Well, you know, I can put my hand right here. Well, if I'd have put my hand over here when I just said that, what would have happened, like, in the different
Yeah.
things. If I'd have put my hand here, or just if I was born left-handed instead of right-handed, what kind of different opportunities would I had? If I said hello to this one person when I was, I don't know, in high school, would I have a different friend now than I did? So just things like that kind of go through your mind all the
Trippy.
time. But because like different actions have different consequences, and that opens up different opportunities. So, and just the decisions you make, I make a decision now, it'll affect my life. It'll affect the rest of your day and eventually the rest of your life, which is crazy to think, but that's just that's how time works and that's how things work. So looking back at it, I don't want to miss out on all the things I could have done, because that is a scary thought. But I think it just kind of comes down to, in whatever opportunity you're in, whatever situation you're in, if you do the best you can in that situation and you make the best decisions you can in that situation, I think you'll follow right along with God's plan of where He wants you to go.
That's where I was going to go with it.
So looking back on that, you're fulfilling everything you need to be fulfilling anyways, and doing everything you need to be doing anyways. If you're doing the best you can in each situation you're in, you're following along with God's plan. So
I had time away from God. I hate that I did. I wish I never did, but it's gotten me here today, and I feel like I'm closer to God than I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't, like, the only way that I can soothe that worry that I'm not doing the best I can, that I'm not, or that I'll get to the end of my life and look at all the missed opportunity, or like day to day, like if I said hello to this person, my life would have been completely different. The only thing that can kind of ease that nerve is faith and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm making my decision, this goes back to our core values.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making decisions based on a set of core values that you believe, and faith should be one of them, that you want to glorify God and do your best to do that, and do His will. If you live by that, I don't think you'll have any regret.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I have that now.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't imagine where I'd be if I didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have ripped me in half already.
Yeah.
I'll be real honest.
That's pretty cool.
Speaking of which, I want to talk about my drive.
Let's do it.
During your 20-mile run.
Let me tell my perspective about this first, and you can get into it. So I'm sitting here running this past Sunday night, 20 miles, longest run I ever did. And for me, it was about, number one, getting it done, first of all. But number two was listening to my body through it out, because, I was kind of feeling sore and I didn't want to really push it just 2 weeks out and hurt myself or get too extra sore. But I kept it a relatively easy pace, probably about 20 seconds slower pace than I'm going to run the actual marathon, maybe 15, 20 seconds slower. And, I'm just sitting through and I'm cruising along and listening to our podcast from last week that we posted with Ty, and just listening to that. And I probably about mile, 13 into it, and I get a text from Jake saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "This is kind of odd. I'm just out in town running." It's like, I just had an experience with God. I'm like, I got to call you right now and see what's up. So I called him, but you can tell your story now.
So I never just call people. Hardly ever.
Yeah.
I make a lot of phone calls.
That's why it surprised me. That's why I had to call you right away.
I make a lot of phone calls at work. I used to not like making phone calls. I hate throwing around the word anxiety, but like, if I have anxiety, bro, it was over phone calls. I didn't like it. It felt like I was putting a burden on somebody to make a phone call.
Yeah.
Which I had to throw out away real quick with my job, because I've got an engineer in Kentucky. You know what? Screw it. I'm getting into this a little bit. I've got an engineer in Kentucky over a job I'm doing in North Carolina, so I have to call him a lot. Glad I ditched that concern of burdening somebody by making a phone call. And I don't like talking over the phone. I'd rather talk in person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I still don't just make phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Even like friends and family, really. I call my parents and stuff because they're in Colorado and I miss them, but I'm not big on phone calls.
Yeah.
I never have been. And I had this experience, and I was like, immediately, I was like, I need to call Gabe and tell him about that. But I kind of talked myself out of calling you because I was in a rough service area.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to get like halfway through the story. So I'll see if he's doing something. He could be at church doing something.
Yeah.
And I'll call him whenever he's available. So I was really worried. I was driving to North Carolina from Kentucky. It was late. I've been thinking a lot about what I want with my life recently. I've made decisions, some life-changing decisions, like dropping out of college and taking this job and doing this full time, and I don't regret that. I think I did what I had to do, and I've learned a lot from it. Like, I'm really grateful for the experiences that I've had, and I don't regret dropping out, honestly. Like, I really don't. Because now I'm kind of doing the job that I was going to school for right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little bit into project management right now. Small scale. Like, I go into this battery plant. A battery plant. And people have devoted their lives to building batteries for somebody else to line their pockets. And it's not really the money part that bothers me, but like the way that people are just obsessed with building batteries. And it's very expensive to build batteries. Yeah. Because you have to have a really clean environment to build batteries. Because if you don't have a clean environment and you get contamination, the whole thing goes boom and it burns to the ground. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have talked about that, but oh well.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's our parents are listening to us right now. So shout out, guys. Thanks. But anyway, I've learned that I don't want to be in this forever. I don't want to wind up being so worked up over a project look out there. Yeah. I don't want to be stuck in a factory worried about a factory for my whole life. Yeah. And I know that I can't just throw away my life and go lay in the woods next to a peaceful stream forever, but I don't want to go down that road. Yeah. I'm grateful that I've learned that before I had a degree to do that, because I would have felt like that's the only thing I could do. Yeah. But I've been really worried about what I want to do with my life, and I've been thinking about some things that I want, like a shop. I want a shop on some land that I could try and make a business out of doing different things, and I really just want to like throw stuff at it and kind of see what sticks. And I also wanted to have a studio built out. Yeah. And a shop, this potential shop that I've been thinking about. And I can't make that happen right now. And so I was kind of feeling down and feeling like I was powerless, and like I was focused too much on what I don't have instead of just being grateful for what I do have. That's been a running theme for me in the show. I've talked about that a lot. And so I tried to remember that, and so I get, I'm thinking about all this, and I get this I'm thinking about all this while I'm driving. I don't know what I want to do with my life now, because I'm kind of like at a crossroad of an identity crisis, because like if I'm not what I'm doing right now, what am I? Yeah. And I was really worried about it. And there's some things that I want to do, but they're scary as all get out to jump and do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing this out too much, I think.
No, draw it out.
But I'm worried about all this stuff. It's like a big pile of things.
Yeah.
It's like a big tangled up pile of interwoven stuff because life's complicated. It is for everybody. My insignificant little life is just as complicated as whoever lives down that way. and I have no clue of what's going on over there.
Yeah.
And I just, it came over me to pray.
Yeah.
And like to out loud pray.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm driving and I'm praying and I'm talking to God and I'm asking for guidance and I'm asking for wisdom and I'm asking that God's will be done through my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scared that if I do, like if I act out things that I want to do, and if I make changes that I want to make, that I won't be serving God's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to serve God's purpose. That's really what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I can't remember everything. Like I can't remember the whole prayer. But like that's really the gist of it. This is what I'm kind of praying about. Asking for guidance. I'm asking for reassurance that whatever I do, as long as I'm focused on doing God's will, is that I will end up doing God's will.
Yeah.
And I said something like that. I was like, just because I don't like whenever people are like, if God's real, that tree will fall down.
Yeah.
I really don't like that. People kind of tell God to give him a sign. I don't like that. I'm not much for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what I'm thinking though. And the kind of the challenging part about prayer to me is that if I'm thinking something and trying to put it into words, what I'm thinking is already what I'm praying.
Yeah.
And so I'm, without asking for a sign, I asked for a sign.
Yeah.
I'll admit it, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I asked for a sign that whatever I do is what God's will is. As long as I'm in step with that.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about it, and if that's what I'm actively trying to do. I go around a curve on a mountain. I've done this drive like 3 times at this point. I've never seen these crosses. In fact, I looked for them last night when I passed through the area, and I didn't see them.
Really?
Could have been a different area. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm really going to pay attention Sunday night whenever I drive home. Maybe I couldn't have seen them from my side of the road because I was going the other way.
Yeah.
Or maybe I took a different road.
Yeah.
But I'm going through that area, and I didn't see those crosses last night or yesterday evening.
Yeah.
But whenever I had this prayer, I was driving toward North Carolina, and I take this turn, a turn that I've already taken a couple times, and there's 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the road. There's lights pointed at them, and I was like shook.
Yeah.
Like it felt like my body. I'm shaking right now thinking about it. It felt like I don't know. I don't know how to describe what I felt.
Yeah.
But I really did feel God's presence in a way that I never have before. And I've talked about it on here. Is that like I always had a really hard time sympathizing with people saying that, like, oh, God's telling me to do this.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, this always comes to mind whenever I think about God talking to people, is somebody that went to church with us years ago at a church in Richmond told they were leaving that church and they were just moving. They were moving to Florida, and they were talking to Dad about how God's really pulling them to Florida, and Dad was like, "Oh yeah, God's pulling me to the beach too." But like I never really understood how God could talk to you, and I never sympathized with it until that night, and it's still got me shaken up a little bit. Like I've never felt that.
Yeah.
But that, like it felt like there was, like it felt like God was in the truck with me. That probably sounds a little goofy to say, but like it felt different. It was a really interesting experience, and I immediately call you.
Well, the way you described it to me that night was, I know that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That I know I'm doing what's best, is the way you said it that night. And that's such a really cool experience, because that phone call actually uplifted me that night.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's funny how accountability partners, we've said it before. It's funny how we can just build each other up through that. But I've also kind of struggled with that before. How you said that, struggled with, like, well, how does God talk to people nowadays? How do you know that you're seeing, His will? How do you know that He's making an impact in your life? Because He doesn't talk to you. He doesn't.
Gabe.
He doesn't.
That's what I always think about.
It's like He doesn't talk to you like He used to back before Jesus. Like he talked to Moses or whatever. He doesn't actually like talk to you anymore, because that's what the great mediator, Jesus Christ, is for now. That's we're going to dig into that hard here in a minute.
I'm excited.
But because I've always struggled with that too. But once I've kind of experienced, I don't know how to say experience, but I feel like I've seen God's work through people, and God's impact through people and through myself, and just I can see His power and His love and just all this. I can see it kind of more clearly now than I have in the past. It's like, a great example of this was not last night, but the night before. I went to the Estill ball game, the baseball game, and like the other day, like half of their team, they went to it was East Side in Richmond. Is it a church in Richmond? East Side? I don't know. But
sure.
They went and they listened to this. They listened to this speaker. What's his name? He played baseball for the Mets. Daryl Strawberry. But like they went and listened to him, and like all those coaches, for what I know, they go to church and they love the Lord, and they're running a solid, like, good baseball program, and just the Estill baseball family, it's just been through the ringer.
Yeah.
And I went to that game Thursday night, and just the environment that was built, the way the coaches were treating each other, the way the coaches were treating the players treating the coaches, players treating each other. It just seemed like this big family almost, because you always say in teams like 1, 2, 3 family or whatever. It just looked like a family to me. It just felt like a family event. Like everybody there knew each other. I mean, there was a lot of people there for a game, and it just felt like good vibes, just a good energy there. And I could just kind of see, I don't know, it just felt like to me that God's love was working through that team almost, just that night. I don't know, it's just such a cool experience there. And me with the running, it's like I've said before, it's like those times are kind of like my one-on-one time with God, when I try to take the best advantage of that I can. And it's just like I've just seen it through me. I've seen it see God's love work through other people, and just like it's very cool that you just see that's how God works. You can just see His impact in other people's lives. And but that conversation, going back to what you were talking about, that conversation you had with me that night, and just that sharing that experience is really cool, because I remember you said that it's like we've never really had conversations like this before, or something along that line. It's like, well, it's because we're actually thinking about it now.
Yeah.
We're actually talking to God. We're actually doing these, trying to be righteous, trying to do the right things, and actually talking to God. And it was just very cool to me that you had that experience, and that you shared it with me, and it uplifted me that night. And it was just really cool, really cool. made me happy that night. Because I was listening to our podcast from last week, and it was good and all. And, but at the time, I still had like an hour left of running.
Yeah.
And so, we talked for like 30 minutes almost. So that helped get me through it and get my mind off, the pain and the thing. And we just had good conversation that night. But anywho, I thought that was a really cool story. That a really cool experience you had.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well,
ready to do it?
I guess we can get into it. How long have we been going?
About an hour.
Beautiful. A little over an hour.
Well over an hour.
This is going to be our longest one yet. For a while.
Oh,
anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
But, let's see. Oh, let me text Tanner back. All right, here we go. So, tomorrow, I guess today is when this is uploaded, is Easter. And I feel like I really felt obligated almost to talk about, Easter today on the podcast. And
me too.
I'm glad you felt that way too, because I don't know, but I just felt obligated to do it. We had a Good Friday luncheon yesterday. I was the youngest one there. A bunch of old people at church were there. I ate some chicken salad and left.
There you go.
But we had, let's see, Palm Sunday was this past Sunday. Well, let's just tell the whole Easter story. I'm going to tell it the best I can. The whole Easter story, in case the people listening don't know it or want a refresher or whatever. So basically, the Easter story, the reason behind Easter, the reason we celebrate it is the resurrection of Jesus Christ after he died and hung on the cross, was buried for 3 days and came back. And walked the earth for a little bit and ascended up into heaven. So that's basically the very short and dumbed down version of the Easter story. But Palm Sunday is what it's most famously known for. Jesus rolls into town in Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. For the people that don't know what the Passover is, it's a holiday. It's a Jewish holiday that, well, Jesus was a Jew first off and foremost. Jesus, he was a Jew, and they rolled into Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. That's where the temple was. And it was custom during that holiday that everybody, all the Jewish people roll in and they celebrate the Passover, which back in Exodus, back during Moses' time, remember the 10 plagues?
No, I don't.
The 10 plagues of Egypt? When like they turned the blood or the Nile River into blood and all that stuff, and they split the Red Sea, and Moses delivered his people through from Egypt. So all the all the Israelites, they were enslaved by the Egyptian Pharaoh, and Moses and Aaron, his brother Aaron. That's the whole story about the burning bush and all that stuff. God came to Moses in a burning bush like, "Hey, you need to get these people out. Like, these are my people. They don't need to be enslaved. You need to deliver them out." And Moses was like, "I can't do it. I can't talk in front of the Pharaoh. I'm scared." So he's like, "Well, your brother Aaron can talk for you." Anywho, so Aaron and Moses talked, and they did God did the 10 plagues of Egypt. Well, the 10th plague was the death of the firstborn son. And so what happened, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Pharaoh and let his people go, or let the Israelites go. So what happened was God's like, all right, this is what's going to happen. The 10th plague is going to be the finale. It's like, this is what's going to happen. If you don't go and kill your best lamb, sacrifice your best lamb, kill it, take the blood of that lamb and rub it on top of the door frame of your house. If you don't do that, the angel of death is going to come in and kill your firstborn son. And so the people that, the Israelites that were enslaved, and the people, even probably some of the Egyptians that heard that and they might have feared or whatever, it was like they did it anyways because that's what God told them to do. And so they killed their best lamb. They put the blood on top of the door frame, and the angel of death passed over their house. That's where the name Passover comes from. So it passed over their house. And if you didn't have that blood on your doorframe, angel of death comes in, kills the firstborn son. Scary, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Pharaoh didn't do that, and what happened? The Pharaoh's son died. So the Pharaoh's like, well, enough. I'm sick of this. You can have the Israelites. You can take them, let them go. And what ends up happening, they get to the Red Sea. It's like, oh crap, how are we going to get across? And God's like, well, let's just split it, part it right down the middle. And so I can't imagine what that actually looked like. We just parts the Red Sea, and they go through. And at that point, Pharaoh changed his mind. He's like, I want my slaves back. And so he goes and sends all the whole army after him. Yeah. Well, the Israelites cross. Well, the Egyptian army, they're trying to follow through, right? And what happens? The water collapses, kills them all. But anywho, that's the Passover. That's why they celebrate the Passover. The Passover is the celebration of the angel of death passing over their house back in the day. Mm-hmm. So that's the Passover. Anywho, back to the story. Jesus is rolling into town. Jesus and his disciples are rolling into Jerusalem for the Passover. And Jesus knows this is going to be his final week alive, his final time alive. And so he rolls into town, and he gets up to this one part, like the city there's like this little town called Bethany or something like that. And he rolls in, and he tells two of his disciples, hey, go over that village over there. And he said, there's going to be a little colt, a little donkey tied up. You're going to untie it, and you're going to bring it to me. And if the owners ask, well, hey, why are you taking my donkey? Just tell them the Lord needs it. And they'll be like, okay. So you know what happens? Those two disciples roll in. Yeah. They start untying the donkey, and the owner's like, hey, what's going on here? And they're like, the Lord needs it. They're like, okay, that's fine. And then they take the donkey. So Jesus... And what's neat is that fulfills a prophecy back in the day. It was said that the son of David was going to run in Jerusalem riding a donkey. But anywho, so Jesus is riding this donkey into town, and everyone sees Jesus like, this is the Messiah. This is the guy. This is it. So they're all hooping and hollering and praising him, and they're taking their jackets off their back, putting them on the ground. They're taking palm leaves, or they're taking tree limbs and palm leaves off trees and putting them on the ground so that the donkey doesn't have to walk on dirt, basically. And he's walking into town. Everyone's hooping and hollering and praising God and saying, Hosanna, praise be the son of David, Hosanna, Hosanna. And like it was like such a big celebration that some of the Roman guards are like, hey, teacher, hey, rabbi, hey, Jesus, tell your followers to, chill out. He's like, shoot, if they chilled out, even the stones would start crying out. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. There's such a cool event that Jesus, this king, you think a big king rides in on a big old thoroughbred, right? This big chariot. A big chariot. You think kings roll into that. Well, Jesus, he's a humble king. He's rolling in on a donkey, right? Yeah. And everyone's loving him. But so he rolls into Jerusalem, and he does some teaching and preaching and all this stuff. Well, this catches the eye of the teachers of the law, the Pharisees, the Jewish teachers of the law. And they're like, because they think that the Messiah is going to be this guy that's this big king that's going to come in and kill all the Romans and free all the Jewish people from captivity, or from oppression, not captivity, oppression, kill all the Romans, take over the Roman Empire, and he's going to lead forever, right? Because that's their view of the Messiah, which is a twisted view of the Messiah. What Jesus actually is this loving king that is going to have his kingdom, but it's not on earth. That they think that the kingdom's going to be on earth. Jesus' kingdom is in heaven. So that's where he's building his kingdom. But so they kind of get that twisted, and they're like, well, this guy, he's this little humble guy. He ain't the Messiah. He's lying. He's blaspheming, right? Yeah. So Jesus is in town teaching and preaching, doing all the thing, healing people. He's in Jerusalem doing all this stuff. And so what happens is all these people are loving him. Well, he ends up going to out to the Garden of Gethsemane a few days later after he gets in there. Him and his disciples are just sitting there, just kind of camping out, hanging out. And he knows that tonight he's going to get arrested. Tonight he's going to get arrested, and tomorrow they're going to hang him up on the cross. And so they put him on, so the teachers of the law, the Pharisees, they go to the Pharaoh, and they're like, "Hey, this guy, he's blaspheming." Well, back in the day, if you're caught blaspheming, you're dead. Like, you just get killed. And so there's like, this guy's blaspheming, and they end up going to like the teachers of the law. They end up going to like 2 or 3 different like courts almost. And it's like, "Hey, we need this guy arrested." And like the people of the court's like, "You have no like background. You have no bias of why this guy needs to be arrested. There's no proof, right?
Yeah.
There's no burden of proof." And they finally go to the last one, the last guy. I forget who it is. I'd have to look. But they go to the last Pharaoh or whatever. It's like, "Okay, you can arrest him. That's fine." and like, and
I love the way you tell Bible stories, dude. It's so awesome.
But anywho, all right, that's fine. You can go get him. And so they end up going to the Garden of Gethsemane, and Jesus is sitting there, sweating blood.
Yeah.
And I think you ever see the movie The Passion of the Christ?
No.
I'd recommend it. That's a good movie to watch. It is very gory.
Yeah.
It's very horrific, but I think it's pretty accurate, like the description of it, and it's like it's pretty, to the Bible too. And but in the movie, you can just see him in the Garden of Gethsemane, and you can just see the blood just pouring out of his pores and stuff. It's and like that's a real disease. Like it happens. Like it's not something. Like it happens, and so they're sitting there in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he's like, "Hey guys, I forgot. Shoot, you know what I forgot? I forgot the Last Supper. I skipped right over that." Anyway, we'll go back. The night before the Last Supper, that's when communion gets that's where we get communion from. The Last Supper, Jesus is like, "Hey, I'm gone tomorrow. This is what's going to happen. One of you here is going to betray me. One of you here is going to deny me 3 times." And just like, and so they get communion there and all that fun stuff. But on the Last Supper, well, they go to Gethsemane the next day or whatever, and then they're sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Jesus is up all night. He's like, "Hey, can you guys please stay up with me? Hey, buddies, can you guys please stay up with me and protect me and be with me in my final hours?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll do it. Well, they conk out. They're laying on the ground sleeping. They're all snoozing. So Jesus is just sitting there praying all day or all night, just stressed out from what he's about to go through. And you got to think about it. Like, he knows he's about to go die, which sucks. It's rough. He's under Roman he's about to get arrested. He's about to be put under Roman crucifixion, which is literally the worst death that man has made up. Yeah. So, and he knows that, but he also understands that he's about to have the weight of the world, like the sins of the world, past, present, and future, on his shoulders, and he's about to die for all of them. And so I can't imagine the stress he was under. And so he's sitting there praying, and finally the Roman soldiers come in. Them dogs are going crazy.
They're tore up.
But anywho,
they're feeling bad.
Finally the Roman soldiers come in and like, "All right, which one of you guys is Jesus? We're here to arrest you." And like, they didn't even know what he looked like, like, because Jesus, he wasn't like, you see the pictures of him, even hanging on the cross, he's just a big ripped dude, right? Hanging on the cross, or he's just like handsome looking guy. He was just a normal dude. Like there was nothing like physically special about him, right? He was just another dude. It's like they didn't even know who he was, like which guy was Jesus when they walked up to come kill him. And they're like, who is Jesus? And he's like, I am he, or I'm him, basically. Jesus says, like, I'm him. And he steps forward. And they go to arrest him. And Peter takes the sword out of the Roman guy's
Peter's always ready to scuff.
Peter grabbed the Roman sword off the guy's thing, cut the guy's head off. Or, not head, sorry. Cut the guy's ear off. I apologize. Cut the guy's ear off. And they're like, oh my gosh, that guy's just sitting there bleeding out almost. And Jesus is like, dude, Peter, chill out, calm down. And Jesus picks the ear up, slaps it back on his head, and heals it. And the guy's like, in the movie, does a really cool job descripting it. It's like the Roman soldier gets his ear cut off in the movie. He just sits, like, it doesn't say in the Bible what happens, but in the movie, he just sits there and he doesn't even move. Like, he just sits there. He doesn't go back with them. He just sits in that garden. He doesn't go back with the rest of them. But they end up arresting Jesus, and they take him in. They put him under trial. It's like, this guy is blaspheming. He's saying he's the Messiah. He's really not. He's saying blasphemy and all this stuff, which is a complete sham of a trial. I mean, it's nothing. It's not, nothing true about it. Nothing fair about it. And they're like, well, what are we gonna do with him? And they're like, well, the people, even like the court system's like, well, we don't want nothing to do with him. Like, it's blasphemy, whatever. It's like, and the people were like, I guess that the Pharisees are like trying to get all the people on their side, and they're like, well, we need to kill him. We need to kill him. We need to kill him. So all the people's like, well, let's kill him. Let's do it. Let's kill him.
Yeah.
And they're like, fine, whatever. And so kill him. It's like, we literally don't want nothing to do with this. But if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. And so they end up going to Pilate, and Pilate is even like, I don't even want to be a part of this almost. And Pilate's wife sounds like, man, you don't want to be a part of this. Like, because this is some bad stuff happening here. You don't want to be a part of this. And so, anywho, they get him under trial, and they're like, all right, you're arrested. It's time to serve your punishment. You're going to get 39. You're going to get 40 minus 1 lashings with the cat of nine tails, because under Roman law you couldn't get 40 lashings. You could only get 39, because 40 would kill him.
Yeah.
Basically, that's because I guess that was experience or whatever. 40 would kill him. So it gets time. They arrest him, and they're going to give him the cat of nine tails as his punishment. And so they get him up there, and they hit him 39 times or 39 times, and he's just, I can't imagine that, like, these cat of nine tails, like thorns and nails and just spikes and stuff just getting ripped into your back. The movie does a great job of describing. I mean, it's a hard watch, but just whipping him and beating him half to death. I got a video here I'm going to play here in a minute that this girl does a pretty good, I saw it on TikTok. She does a good job explaining it. But just all this, and I got to speed up because I'm running out of time. But they're going through and just beating him to death, and they put him in front of, they give him a crown of thorns put on his head because, it's like, oh, you're the king? All right, you're the king of the Jews? You're the king? All right, here's this crown. This crown of thorns put in his brow, pushing his brow. Blood was coming in, he couldn't even see because blood was pouring from his brow. And they give him like a purple garment to put over him. Yeah. Just purple's like the most expensive thing back in the day. And it's like just mocking him. They're all making fun of him. And they put him in front of this the crowd of people. It's like, well, this time of year we're allowed to give out one prisoner back to the people. We're allowed to free one prisoner just by custom or whatever. And I don't know the full story of it, but this is what happens. Like, they put him out. It's like, we got Jesus here. And we got this guy named Barabbas. This guy named Barabbas, he's a murderer, right? He's accused murderer, proved murderer. He's guilty of his crime. So you guys can have Jesus back, and Jesus can walk free, or you guys can have Barabbas back. and Barabbas can walk free. Well, Barabbas is a murderer. Golly. I'll call him back. But anyways, Barabbas is a murderer and all this stuff. And so he's going through all this, and they're like, we want Barabbas. The people's like, we want Barabbas, which makes no sense to me. It's like, well, why would you want this murderer versus this guy that's, even if you look at it on paper, this guy's just a blasphemer. He's a liar, right? You'd rather have a murderer than a liar, but he's not a liar. It's Jesus. But that, you kind of look at it in our shoes, is like, this is, Barabbas is us in this situation. We are Barabbas in this situation. You hear the songs or whatever. There's a song called We Are Barabbas or whatever of
You're popular.
yeah, I know it. I'll text him back in a minute. It's fine. Nothing urgent. But like Jesus died for Barabbas, and he also died for, he took Barabbas' spot on the cross. Yeah. He took a spot on, so it's a nice correlation. But anyways, I'm rambling. So they kill Jesus, or they get Jesus, and they're like, all right, we're going to crucify you. They're like, all the people are chanting, crucify him, crucify him. All right, we're going to crucify you. So they give Jesus, they make him carry this cross up a hill, long ways up this hill, and up to Mount Calvary. They put the cross up, or they lay the cross down. They lay Jesus on it. Just keep in mind he's beat and bruised, and Bible says unrecognizable. Like you can't even recognize his face. He's that beat up. Skin peeling off his body, bleeding out almost, has extreme blood loss and extreme exhaustion, extreme thirst, just extreme everything. They put him up there. They lay him on the ground. They put spikes in his hands. They put spikes through his feet, 3 nails, one each hand and one through both of the feet. And they pull him up, hang him on the cross next to 2 other thieves. There's 2 other people on the cross. And one of the thieves is like, hey, Jesus, I'm sorry for what I did. Please forgive me for what I've done and have me a spot in heaven. And Jesus is like, your sins are forgiven. It's pretty cool. And the other guy next to him is like, basically like, well, this is stupid and just cursing God and all this stuff. And but that guy's in heaven up with Jesus now, which is pretty cool. The guy that asked for forgiveness there. But what happened? Jesus hung there for a few hours, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
A few hours. And he has 7 short sayings. I don't know them off the top of my head, but he says a few things, because it's hard to breathe up on the cross because your lungs are basically collapse into your ribs and whatever and all this stuff. And but anywho, he ends up dying, and when he dies, darkness falls over the land, almost like an eclipse. Darkness falls over the land. It's 3 PM. Mm-hmm. Darkness falls over the land. The veil in the temple rips top to bottom. You know what that is? The veil in the temple?
No, but
So in the Jewish temple, that's basically where God was on earth, was in the most inner room of the temple. And so priests could go in there, and there was an altar, and they could make sacrifices in there. Well, when Jesus died, that veil ripped from top to bottom, and the earth shook like there was a big earthquake. That veil ripped, and that kind of symbolizes that God's just not in that one spot anymore. God's everywhere. Jesus is everywhere. So it's a cool thing. But the veil ripped, earth shook, and they ended up taking him, and they put him in a tomb, a borrowed tomb that someone already died in. They just put him in there too. A borrowed tomb, not even his own tomb.
Didn't know
that. They put him in there. They seal it up because they thought that his disciples would come in and try to take his body. So they seal it up like concrete. They put a big rock in front of it, seal it up like glue type stuff, and they had Roman guards in there guarding it. Well, 3 days later, he comes back and walks walks with man again. But I'm gonna play this video. That's kind of graphic. It's kind of graphic, but it's what happened.
Trigger warning before I start this.
She started with the trigger
I
warning.
think this is something that
Let
really
me try to find it.
talked about, remembered, and reflected on, and capillaries around the sweat glands.
So she's talking about
blood with sweat.
she's talking
It's
about
rare
Jesus
and
sweating and stuff.
excruciating, and it tells us
Sweat
that
and blood.
Jesus was under such intense emotional agony that his body began breaking down. Then came the scourging. This is when Roman soldiers used a whip called a flagrum, which is made of leather straps with glass, metal, and bone woven in. It didn't just bruise the skin, it tore muscle, tendon, and exposed the bone. He received 39 slashes because under Jewish law, they could only receive a maximum of 40 minus 1. So he received the maximum. Most people died just from this. Medical experts say that it caused hypovolemic shock, which is blood loss so extreme that it makes the heart beat faster while blood pressure tanks. His back, chest, and legs were ripped to shreds. His flesh was torn apart, his muscle was exposed, his nerves were shredded, which triggered non-stop pain. Then came the crown of thorns. They mocked him as king by pressing a crown of thorns into his head. These thorns were not rose bush pricks. They were 1 to 2 inches long, driven into the scalp. The human head is packed with nerve endings, so this wasn't just pain, it triggered migraine level, radiating agony throughout his whole face and neck. Imagine nails being hammered into your skull. That's how deep these nails went. He had agonizing nerve pain from the trigeminal nerve, which is one of the most sensitive in the human body. He had heavy bleeding from the scalp down. He had nausea, dizziness, and disorientation from just the blood loss. Then came the carrying of the cross, where he was forced to carry a cross weighing around 300 pounds for 600 yards, which is the length of 6 football fields, and he was forced to do so through narrow stone streets. After the scourging, he would have been stumbling, collapsing, and barely being able to breathe. His condition at that point, he had no water, he had no strength, raw wounds that were scraping against splintered wood, and he collapsed multiple times. Then came the crucifixion, which lasted from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. They drove iron spikes 5 to 7 inches long through his wrists, not his palms, to support his weight. Then through his feet, likely at the ankle joint. This would have pierced the median nerve, causing pain so intense that it's been compared to lightning strikes on both of your arms and both of your legs at the same time. Once lifted, every breath required pulling himself up on the nails, shredding the back, and putting pressure on those wounds. Crucifixion kills by suffocation slowly. The chest collapses inward until the person just cannot breathe. The cause of death. When the soldier pierced his side with a spear, scripture says that blood and water flowed out. That's a clinical sign of pericardial effusion, which is fluid buildup around
Also fulfills a prophecy, but
the heart.
Yeah.
So in plain terms, Jesus died from heart failure. His heart was literally crushed, and in every sense of the word, broken. His chest collapsed under the stress. Every breath was a battle, and this is what caused the suffocation. He had dislocated shoulders and torn ligaments from how far his arms were spread apart. He had heart failure due to blood barely moving, and he had severe dehydration with his lips being cracked and his mouth bone dry. This shows us what sin really costs and what Jesus thinks that we're really worth. So he didn't just die for us, he suffered for us.
So that's a nice little description of what Jesus went through. People just see the image of him just like hanging on the cross, the little cartoons or whatever. It's like, but
It's
like,
so much worse.
it is so much worse. Just the history of Roman crucifixion, and to even get the cat of nine tails before that, then getting up there and crucified.
Yeah.
Insane. But it just makes me grateful almost, because like he went through that. Then I've kind of I hate to compare myself to that, but like my experience is like, well, if Jesus can sit up there and die on the cross for me, why can't I and go through that for me so I get the chance to go to heaven? why can't I try to better myself in this one aspect of my life? Why can't I dedicate 15 minutes back when I started losing weight, 15 minutes a day to running and losing weight?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I do that? And those were the thoughts going into my mind. Well, shoot, Jesus carried this cross for probably felt like forever, and he hung on that cross forever. Why can't I sit here and why can't I go run a mile? You know, just those were the thoughts that was kind of going through my mind that when I first started losing weight. But to correlate that to my marathons, like Jesus went through that for my sins. Why can't I go? Why can't I go through this hard thing? I'm sure Jesus would have rather ran a marathon than
Probably.
getting hung on the cross. So why can I? When I do this hard thing, let me focus my mind on Jesus and what he went through, and so that he went through it for me. So if he went through that, I can go through this much easier thing comparatively. But anywho, Jesus ended up dying. I'm running out of time, but Jesus ended up dying on the cross. He ended up dying on the cross, and they put him in the tomb. And I'm going to read out of Matthew 28 what happened in the tomb. So after the Sabbath at Matthew 28:1, after the Sabbath at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, from the angel of the Lord came down from heaven, and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. So the stone got rolled back. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. So Jesus was down there, and the guards were so scared that they just kind of fell to the ground. Well, that wasn't Jesus. Sorry. My bad. That was the angel. Sorry. Yeah. But the angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he is risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you. So the woman hurried away from the tomb, afraid, yet filled with joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them. Greetings, he said. They came to him, collapsed his feet, and worshipped him. And Jesus said, Do not be afraid. Go tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me. So Jesus came back and went and saw the women first, and then went and saw his disciples. So pretty cool, pretty cool story there. And it's Easter when this is going to be uploaded, so that's just good things to be thinking of. That Jesus died on the cross so that for your sins, so you get the opportunity to go to heaven. It's like we've all had hard times in our life. We've all had bad times in our lives where we weren't doing the right thing, where we were sinning. And, Jesus died for those sins. Jesus took your place on that cross. Jesus took the beating, took the nails, took all the things, took all the bad things, took all the hardship, took all the pain, so that you don't have to suffer through that, so that you can go to heaven and be with him one day. That's pretty cool, if you ask me. That's why I follow Jesus.
My sin held him on the cross.
Mm-hmm.
Forever grateful.
Yep.
I could get emotional right now.
I know it.
Like I almost did.
I know it.
But
I know it. Shoot, I almost did when you were telling that story earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah. I got to be up at church in 17 minutes.
We'll close it out.
We'll close it out.
We love you. Jesus loves you.
But let's get a little outro going. We've been talking about church for 3 weeks now. We're working on it.
Make it happen.
Just we're slow and
There's a lot coming.
We're being complacent on it. But
There's a lot coming.
Yeah. But we'll get a little outro song in one of our better episodes, I think. We hit a lot of good topics today.
I'm really happy with this.
A lot of good topics.
I was going to be happy no matter what because it was here, but
yeah.
Close it out. Love you guys. Bye.
We love you. Jesus loves you. Be good to your brother.